Hey, welcome back to another episode of the MindShare podcast. This is where we share strategies and insights to help you work smarter, build stronger relationships, and create the success that you deserve. This show is proudly sponsored by Kits Keep in Touch Systems, your ultimate marketing and lead generation CRM. REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's trusted source for real estate news and insights. And REVEL Realty, redefining real estate with bold marketing, cutting-edge training, and a culture that empowers success. Learn more about our sponsors and download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle at mindshare101.com. And while you're there, discover how our full range of services can help take your business to the next level. From one-to-one coaching for personalized growth, to the MindShare Collective group coaching for community-driven success, momentum training to build unstoppable progress, and keynote speaking to inspire and motivate your team. We are here to elevate your game. And while you're at it, learn more about joining the revolution to experience the bold new way that real estate is being redefined. Today's episode is number 331, and we are diving into how to create consistent content that converts to help you make real estate social media simple. She's the co-founder and broker of record at On the Block Realty, a boutique brokerage in the GTA that helps agents grow their business through clear processes, real accountability, and modern strategies that actually work. She's known for offering tangible tools and fresh ideas that move agents beyond trial and error and into consistent, scalable success. She also serves as chair of the board at the Real Estate Council of Ontario, and she's leading by example with a personal brand that's creative, consistent, and impactful. Today, we're diving deep into how realtors can overcome your fear of social media, generate real content ideas, easily create posts, schedule effectively, and build engagement that translates into real business growth. If you've been struggling with content creation, personal branding, or simply knowing what to post, this is your blueprint. Now, we're going to teach you some simple, actionable steps that you can use to start building your real estate brand on Instagram and beyond. Specifically, we're going to learn how to beat fear and build confidence on social media. We're going to plan a real estate content calendar without the overwhelm. We're going to create and edit posts using just your phone. We're going to post consistently to grow your real estate brand. And we're going to turn social media engagement into real world business results. Joining me on this episode of the MindShare podcast is special guest, broker of record at On the Block Realty, Katie Steinfeld. Katie, welcome back to the MindShare podcast.
Welcome back. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here for a second time. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Absolutely. No, I'm excited at the conversation today. It's something we were talking off air before about, the struggles that so many people face right now when it comes to, building the brand, building the MindShare, getting themselves out there and really creating a brand that sticks. And I know I said it to you before, but I got to say it publicly. Like, I have been super impressed by your Instagram account. You're doing it. And I think that is wicked cool.
Yeah.
You're really, really doing it. But I would say this, one thing I know, and this is through, the abilities and the opportunities I get to work with so many people in the industry, is that social media can feel completely overwhelming for a lot of realtors. I would ask you, what do you see as the biggest mental barrier that's holding people back from showing up online? Because we just sort of did like a collaboration post, and we'll talk more about the power of that as well. That was kind of a jumping off point there, because there was some really good points in that.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I think I started much earlier than you see my social and how it's probably
Evolved,
transformed.
absolutely.
And it took me a very long time to get here, and I still have lots to learn. Definitely no means perfect or anything like that. But I think we always have to recognize that everybody's kind of at a certain point in their own journey and with social media. So please don't compare what you're seeing either from me or David or anybody else to where you're at currently, because it will get better. And if I scroll back, 50, 100 reels or videos, I will probably cringe and want to delete them all. So
that is such a good point that you bring up.
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah, no. So it's all good. But yeah, going to your question, I think there's a few different things that hold people back. I think confidence is a big one. I talk to my agents all the time. They don't like the sound of their voice. They don't like the sound. They don't like the way they look. They don't think they sound like they should, whatever it might be. And it's so incredibly difficult to get over that. But the quicker you do, the better off you're going to be. And I know we'll dive into like strategies on how to get better at that. But that lack of confidence is a huge one for most people, I find. And then focus, I say, is the second biggest one that is really impacting agents, because if you don't have a focus in your messaging, you're not attracting the right people. And the algorithm on Instagram or whatever social platform you're working on is not going to help you, because they have no idea where to direct your content to or who to direct your content to. So you have to think about trying to help that algorithm. And once the algorithm recognizes, okay, this person is talking a lot about first-time home buyers all the time, I need to start finding that audience and direct this content to them, because obviously these social platforms want people to stay on the platform as much as possible. So if they can direct relevant content to them, that's the name of the game.
Such an important point there around one, figuring out who your audience is. And I know, like, when we're building out marketing plans with our clients, we talk about AMH: audience, marketing, hard work. And so the first thing is you've got to define who's the audience.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's easy to say, especially in real estate, well, anybody who owns a home. And yeah, there's a degree of that. However, moreover, when you say first-time home buyers or downsizers or luxury clients or cottage, second cottage properties, whatever it is, if you start to really hone in on that audience,
yeah,
just like even Google works, keywords start to attract the right people.
that's right.
Right. So let's get the message in front of those right people.
Yeah.
So how did you, like, again, when we talk like to, focus, and we talk to kind of like, I don't like the sound of my own voice and the way I look and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
How did you personally overcome the fear, the hesitation, to really consistently posting and putting yourself out there in front of people? Because I mean, and we're going to get into it, but like, you hit on so many, business, personal, like, and there's obviously not a fear anymore. Maybe there never was. I don't know. And I guess that's probably the first question. Like, how'd you get past that?
Yeah. I mean, there definitely was a fear. And when I did press post, and to this day, like, my husband will be watching a reel that I created right beside me, and I will walk out of the room. Like, I'm still not comfortable. I can watch it myself, but if I hear somebody else watching it and I'm in the room, I walk out. So I still have a bit of that hesitancy and lack of confidence there. So I don't think you'll ever get fully past it.
Yeah.
But a couple of things I tell my agents. First of all, if you're not ready to show up on your main page, go on to stories, start there, and maybe start behind the camera as opposed to in front of the camera, and just get used to the sound of your voice. And it takes some time. Like, I did a podcast for quite some time, and the podcast was great because it allowed me to listen back to how I sounded, kind of the isms that I had, the ums and the ahs. And I still obviously say those things, but not as much. And so it allowed me to just kind of refine how I spoke, how I showed up. And it's a work in progress. But unless you're putting yourself out there and testing it out and getting that feedback, you're never going to know, and you're just never going to get better. So you're going to start, it's going to be rocky, but just know that it's slowly going to get better. So that's a big thing. And then, other than stories, like getting yourself in front of the camera as well, maybe not speaking, but B-roll is a great option where you're filming yourself, just maybe doing a showing or driving in the car. So you're seeing yourself on video, but you're not talking. And then you can do like a text overlay on maybe a good message if you're working with investors a lot. Like, what is a great learning that you can put out to your audience through kind of a text overlay with the B-roll. So then you get more comfortable with seeing yourself on the video, right? And slowly but surely, you just start getting used to seeing yourself show up a little bit more, and that confidence slowly builds.
Wicked tips. And I hope everybody caught on to that. I read right through it. So I totally get what you're saying, because it's, I'll listen to the podcast sometimes, like in the car, I'll throw it on.
Yes.
First you're like, oh man, here we go. And that's
Exactly.
today. We're what, episode 331, 7 years later. And I still get to that point where we're like, oh boy, okay, play.
Yeah.
And you go listen to it. right?
Yeah.
You do hear those isms. You do hear
Hmm.
those little things. You hear the cadence of your voice. You hear the tonality of the voice. You pick up on little things and say, okay, I know I want to make some adjustments. And I would say that for the amount of audiences and people that I've been in front of and videos I've done and podcasts I've done, we're still in a process of refining.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out how to make it even more, better, more comfortable for ourselves. But I love the tips about being behind the camera to start, right? Because you're not on camera, but you can hear your voice.
Yeah.
I love the whole idea of like film yourself on camera, but don't say anything. Now you could just see yourself, put the overlay. I
Yeah.
think these are amazing, amazing tips. I hope everybody listening to that is writing that down. Because again, when it comes to being comfortable on camera or on audio or both, those are some amazing little tips to do.
So can I just tell a cringy story just to help
Please.
everybody feel
Yeah,
better? So I was interviewed on
totally.
a podcast way back, like probably 4 or 5 years ago. And this poor interviewer, and I still do it to this day. Like I do shake my head a lot when I'm talking to somebody because I want them to feel like I hear them. So I'm trying to like slow that down a little bit. But when I was talking to this person in the interview, every time they would talk, I would just be like, yeah, 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 the whole time. Like they would be talking and you just hear me in the background being yep, yep, every like 5 seconds. And so when I listened to this podcast, it was like, oh my God, this is the worst podcast interview ever. So you get better. But if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have learned that this is kind of something I just naturally do. And so I need to get better and improve upon that aspect of things along with a lot of others. But, it's going to be cringy. You're going to have those moments. You just got to kind of get over it and learn from
If
them.
you didn't do it,
Yeah.
and you didn't listen back to it. Like first, if you didn't take the step to do it, you wouldn't have even learned about it. And you wouldn't be further ahead to where you are today.
Exactly.
Katie, I bring this back to like walking,
Yeah.
riding a bicycle. It didn't go well the first time we all tried it. Let's remember that. Like we
Exactly.
didn't know how to walk, we fell. We didn't know how to ride a bicycle without training wheels. When those came off, like, oh boy,
Yeah.
But through the process of doing it, we all got better at it. And now it's like, can you walk? You're like, yeah. Can you ride a bicycle? Yeah. Right. And like
Exactly.
you almost look back on it thinking, obviously, we don't go right back to the start, but like anything in life, that is so crucial.
Yeah.
Now, when you sit down to plan content, I guess I would start from the start. Like, where do you start? Do you map out a full month of content calendar? Do you take it week by week? Is it post by post? Like, what's your starting point on that whole thing?
So I would love to say that I'm very organized with this, but I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants type of person when it comes to content because I find content. A lot of the stuff, especially in real estate, whether I'm giving advice to realtors or if it's an agent giving advice to a client, it's a lot of like, you have to be very timely with the updates and with the information. So some things can be, at any point you can update people on, and other things you want to jump on quickly to be one of the people that is the first to tell their audience about it. So my strategy, I've tried to do the whole batching thing. And it has worked. I just haven't, to be honest, been able to be consistent with it. So
How much would you batch? Like a week, a month?
Oh, I think at the time, so right now I'm posting about 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Back before I was posting about 2 times a week. So I would do for a whole month in a day. And so that was easy. That was a little bit more manageable. And again, as you get better at it, I think it just becomes easier to kind of more fly by the seat of your pants. And I enjoy it, right? So it's a little bit easier for me to be like, yes, I'm going to try this because like I'm really excited to do it. So that helps as well. But the one thing that I've found has been really helpful is just either in a notes app or anywhere that you like to keep information for yourself, just saving posts or ideas or news articles, just in kind of like a bank of ideas so that when I'm looking for ideas, it's not me hemming and hawing for, an hour to figure out what I want to post. I know right away. And I usually go into the week kind of having an idea of, okay, this is this day, this is the other day, et cetera, et cetera. So I do have, it's a lot in my head, but it is kind of put into somewhere where I have the ideas set out already. So it helps.
I think it helps tremendously. I used to have something called an idea box. I still have it.
Yeah.
And it's not an actual box, but it was a list, and like it's
Yeah.
evolved. It went from being a notepad, then it transferred into an Excel spreadsheet, which I thought was just like really boring. Like it just didn't stimulate the mind enough. I then started using something called Trello.
Oh yeah.
And Trello is like
Yeah.
like an online, like sort of like bulletin board. And I put all my ideas there. And now I've got, I've sort of, I guess over the past few years, I've moved it into being, like a running kind of file in my calendar. And I've
Nice.
just got this thing where like bullets. Now, I have a team that helps me with my content from just editing and things of that nature and whatever. So it's, we've got a flow, and we're
Yeah.
constantly month by month when we do our team meetings, we're looking back and saying, okay, what did the past month look like? What was engagement like? What did we feel worked? What did we like? What did we not like? And sort of every 4 weeks, we're doing just a minor tweak.
Yeah.
And some months we're not touching it in terms of like tweaking anything. And sometimes we're making like massive overhauls. And the general public isn't probably going to notice all of that. But from a content schedule perspective, and then knowing what to post and when, it gives us insights to say, okay, we know Monday's a video, Wednesday's a live podcast, Friday there's promotion for the podcast. There's obviously a whole bunch of other stuff in between that. So it starts to get a lot simpler
Yeah.
to figure out
And
what content's going.
And you make a great point. If you have kind of that type of content that every week, like maybe one, as you said, Monday's a video, Wednesday's a just listed post, like whatever it might be. But like if you have that cadence, then it makes it easier to fit those ideas into buckets, and then you can kind of just go with it. So that's a great tip.
Yeah, right. And so I was going to ask you, like, fresh, engaging content, things that are not just listings,
Yeah.
but actually build trust and build brand awareness. And it's not even brand, but like it is brand, but in this case, it's Katie.
Yeah.
It's about Katie. It's not necessarily like, hey, here is On the Block Realty. You are the face of, so people will naturally go to On the Block to check out what's going on. They'll naturally see the idea of real estate with you, but you've created a personal brand, like about you.
Yeah.
Right?
And
How do you come up with that? Like, cause it's great stuff.
Thanks. Yeah, I think we all need to be thinking of it like this. We need to be really understanding that if people don't know who they're working with, then they're not going to be able to like have the trust and want to reach out to you. And look at most, even our brokerage. Like if you go to our brokerage's Instagram, like there are faces, you do see us, but there's nobody consistently showing up. So you don't really get to know the brand. And that's what we have to do in this industry as agents. You need to that's why it's so important to get in front of the camera, allow people to get to know you a little bit, be comfortable, because when they see you in the neighborhood, they're going to recognize you, and then they'll strike up a conversation with you. They're much more likely to send you a direct message with a question about the market if they've seen you and get more comfortable with you. So the goal for agents is really like, yes, it's about personal brand. And sometimes people might think, oh, well, good for you, you've got this amazing personal brand, but it's really about helping people feel comfortable reaching out to you. And they can't do that without when a brand has like no face or no personality. And so you're the one that has the beautiful face, the personality, and you just got to put it out there and get people to get more comfortable with who you are and reaching out to you.
That led like right into the next one. I was just saying, like, what would you say to anybody who, but you just really just did answer it, but I was going to say, like, what would you say to anybody who says like, I have to just post my listings and it's all listings? Cause I mean, you go through so many feeds for realtors, and it's property after property after property.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
or
tough.
like the graphics that some of the companies build for them, their brand builds for them, like the
Yes.
auto posting. And I'm
Yeah.
going, look, like if you need a little filler for something, go
Yes.
look. First of all, if you got a listing, if you got a sold, if you got an open house, you want to promote it, go for it. But if that makes up your entire feed, it's business boring, and there's no person, there's no human, there's no personality, there's nobody to connect with. I'm not coming back for that.
Yeah. And you need to stand out from everybody else, right? So if you're just posting generic, just listed, just sold posts, that's not standing out. It's way better to have yourself in front of the camera, in front of the house. Like, let me show you my favorite parts of this house. Like there's so many agents that do such a good job of this. Like
Yeah.
you need to kind of find your groove and figure out how to show up, but also showcase the listings that you have and the news and the great stories that you can share about client successes.
And it's a great point. Now, if you're thinking that and everybody's listening, they're like, okay, fine, I hear you. I've got to do more of me. I've got to figure out how to like put more of me out there, but they're feeling stuck
Yeah.
of going, but I don't know where to start. what advice would you give to people to simplify that entire approach? Because you said, like running lists of ideas. I said my idea box. I've got a content calendar, so I've got like an idea of like what I want to put out.
Yeah.
I've been doing it a long time, so I feel a hell of a lot more comfortable doing it. But like somebody's tuned in right now.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to do this, but I'm feeling stuck.
Yeah. And that's totally understandable. And it's very normal to feel that way. It goes back to our first point of focus. That's number one. If you don't know your focus, of course, you don't know what to post because you don't know who your audience is. You don't know who you're trying to speak to. So you really need to understand who your audience is and get crystal clear on that. And some people often and I know you've probably dealt with this as well, when they're looking to put focus into their business and they say, well, I don't want to just limit myself to first-time home buyers or to investors or to downsizers. I want to be the agent for everyone in Ontario. Well, you're never going to connect with anybody because your information is so generic. It's all over the place. Nobody knows what you're focused on. So you really do need to commit to a focus. And it doesn't mean you can't take business from elsewhere or from other types of clients, but you need to have that focus to really understand, okay, what is my audience looking for and how can I deliver that through social? So that's number one, is the focus. The other thing is direction. What are you trying to achieve through your content? Are you trying to connect with people? Are you trying to convert people? And some of these can be overlapping. Are you trying to educate? Are you trying to entertain? Everybody's got their own personality. And I see people that try to do the entertain route and God love them, but they're not that funny, and then vice versa. There's funny people that are so they just exude you're just wanting to know more about them, but then they're so bored, become so monotone with the education. So you really got to find your groove. And that's something that I've struggled with too, because entertainment gets more views and engagement. It guaranteed. Humor's always going to win over, or talking about negative things obviously is going to win people over as well, which we don't really like to do. But, so everybody's really drawn to that category of types of content, but who are people going to choose when it comes to a professional working with them and selling and buying a home? So if you can get 300 views on an educational post, I would say that's far more successful than 10,000 from randos on a funny post that you do. So you really have to understand what you're there to do, what your direction is, and what your focus is. And once you get really clear on that, it's going to be so easy to figure out what you need to post. So that's the idea part.
No,
obviously,
I
you
love
have to
that.
get to the execution,
Yeah.
That gets you started.
I love that. But that's an important point you're making there, right? It's a starting point, and it's helping people really think that through, because it's easy to say, yeah, I've got an Instagram account, I'm going to post something, but it's like, well, what and to who and why? And a lot of people will struggle with that whole thing of entertainment. I had somebody say that to me in a training a few weeks ago, actually. He says, well, and however he worded it, but what about those videos that'll get thousands, of views and go viral? Should we just try to do those? I'm like, well, is that who you are?
Yeah.
How does that, who are you targeting? Does it serve your audience the way you need to, or is it just for the views? He goes, no, just to get the views. I'm like, for what? What is the measurement there?
Yeah.
Just views? There's no reason for it, right?
I fell into that trap too. I did a post with my kids. I actually posted about it a couple weeks ago, but I did a reel with my kids. It was all their idea. I'm like, okay, this is really weird, but sure, I'll do it. It got 1 million likes.
Wow.
It went insane.
That's wicked.
Crazy.
Where was that, on Instagram or TikTok?
It was on Instagram. I actually ended up archiving it recently because I ended up getting a ton of random followers, a lot of bots. And it started impacting my reach with the audience I was trying to serve. So I ended up, I archived it so I could always go back and look at it and be like, ooh, this is cool. But I didn't want it on my feed anymore because I didn't want the algorithm to keep pushing it out to random people that I'm just not going to connect with. So and then I suffered a huge drop in my followers over time because slowly the bots got deleted or whatever it was. So anyway, the goal should not be to go viral. That should not be your goal.
Love that. That is so strategic what you're saying there. Now let's talk about taking the content and turning that into something, right? We've got the idea. We want to turn it into content. I know that you've got video, you've got carousels, you've got picture posts. Walk us through your creative process. first, is there somebody helping you with all this stuff?
No,
Oh
I
my God.
should. I need
Okay.
help.
Everybody tuned in. Like I'm telling you, Katie.Steinfeld on
Yeah, maybe I
Instagram. Like
should just change my whole business focus.
no, but like I'm sitting there watching this stuff and I'm like, there's got to be somebody helping her with this. Like, because
Yeah.
I know how much time is involved in doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's great stuff. It's professional. It's executing consistently. Like you're doing the right things. You got these different layers and filters and all this stuff going on. I was like,
Thank you.
is she doing this on her own? So, okay. So you don't have somebody helping you with it. Okay. So
no, that's a goal of mine actually for this year is to offload some of that. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
first thing is then talk to me about the idea between like video, carousels, pictures, wire, and I
Yeah.
know this stuff. I want our audience to know this stuff, and there's going to be a lot of people that do know it, and some people that wonder about it. Why the mix, and how do you choose what's when and what? That sort of idea. Did
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. Yeah, I think so. First of all, I would choose carousels over a static post any day because you
Static
want
post, define that. Is that sorry?
just one picture,
Got it.
one photo. Yeah, because if somebody spends more time on that post, and they naturally will because they're scrolling through the photos, you're gonna get the algorithm's gonna pick that up. And they're going to be like, oh, people are staying longer on these posts. I should push it out to more people. It's getting more engagement. So that's one thing just to consider. And the carousel posts are so great for educational content, especially. And it could be the 5 steps, the 3 steps you need to know about buying your first home, the 5 steps you need to know about investing in your first home, all of those little different tips that you can think of that can make a really great carousel post. And Canva is amazing. I just have like, a template that with a certain brand. And I change it up every so often, but like once you have kind of that brand template in Canva, then you can just put in the words and kind of call it a day. So that makes it super easy to do. And I use Chat GPT all the time. I'm like, okay, these are the 5 tips I want to get across to agents. These are the tips. This is kind of like a bullet point of like the different ideas I have. Help me create a carousel post, 5 different images with the text over top, and show me how to do it. And honestly, like it's a godsend. It saves me so much time. It's my words, right? Like it's not like I'm getting ChatGPT to create it for me. Like I'm feeding it with the information that I want it to have. It's just helping me put it in a more concise way that's going to attract attention. So those are good.
Yeah. No, and I do believe there's a right way and a wrong way to use chat.
Yeah.
I think that there is a right way. If you prompt it properly and you give it the thoughts and the ideas and it helps you structure those, then you look at what it's given you and you kind of make sure it's in your words and in your voice and it really gets the message across that you want. Really what you've done is you've given it the message.
Yeah.
You've asked it. See, and everybody would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're tripping over your words. You're live on a podcast. People, it's real life.
It is.
But if you action it, if you actually tell it what it is that you want, it will help you as a co-pilot start to put those words together. So you just mentioned Canva.
Yeah.
You mentioned chat.
Yeah.
What other tools are you using, for editing? I mean, be it photos, be it words, be it videos, graphics. Is this stuff on your phone? I mean, I know Canva can be both. I know chat can be both.
Yeah.
I guess maybe give some insights into that.
So I've got the pro version of Canva, which gives me greater access to a larger library of like photos, which is really helpful. So definitely I find that is that's money well spent in my opinion. I also have the pro version of CapCut, and I don't know where I would be without CapCut. And I don't even think you need the pro version. The one pro feature that it has that I use all the time is the teleprompter feature. And that
Who was asking about that yesterday? In one of my trainings, somebody, there it is. Now, sorry, totally like random thought live on air here. Somebody was asking me about that in training yesterday, and they're like, what could I do? Because I don't have my words.
Yeah.
I didn't realize CapCut had a teleprompter in it.
They do. If you have the pro version, and it's amazing because then you can edit and do everything all in one versus taking it from, and I can send you over, I do have like a list of free teleprompter apps that you can get for your phone. So there are options out there that are free, but I just find having everything all in one place with CapCut just makes it so much easier. So I go in there, I have my teleprompter, I finish my video, and then I do my little cuts where I'm, pausing or making mistakes or whatever, and then just export it, and it's good to go. I can add in my captions as well. So it's kind of an all-in-one. And to me, I think it's about $100 for the year. It's money well spent, because
Incredible.
before I did teleprompter app, like the person you were speaking to, I was consistently tripping over my words, re-recording, just doing it over and over and over again. And then 2 hours later, I'm like, what am I doing? So yeah, definitely teleprompter. Or other people have told me they also just break it up like sentence by sentence. So they'll kind of memorize the sentence, put it on the video, and then, go back and forth. But if you've got like a 60 to 90-second video, that could take a while. So if you can get used to the teleprompter, and then slowly you start to get used to adding a little bit more personality into what you're saying, because oftentimes when you're reading a teleprompter, it can sound very robotic.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit better as you go, right? It's not going to be great.
Yeah, totally.
Time,
so like,
yeah.
When you look back on those, and it's funny because I'm gonna like totally stalk your social now to be like, is she reading? But seriously, like, have you
most
looked
of the
back
time, yeah.
But when you look back on it, like, does it seem like your eyes are doing the scanning of the sentence, or does it seem pretty?
It seems
I want to
pretty.
look. I don't use them.
Yeah.
I'm like very off
No,
the cuff.
you're very natural. Like, I feel like you're so natural at just speaking in front of a camera. And so for some people, they may not need it, but for me, that's not my strength. So I don't find I notice, but as we were saying before, like, I have an issue with looking up at the camera most of the time. So I don't notice as much, but definitely not like scanning the words. And I think these apps have evolved so much that like they've taken all of those little quirks out of it, where it just becomes very seamless. I think where people can tell is when you're becoming very robotic with how you're talking. Then they're like, okay, you're literally just reading something, and you need to add your personality to it a little.
The personality, it's like what I just did right there. It's like without the ums and the ahs, because that's not going to get people listening. In fact, that's going to push them away.
Yeah.
But if you take that moment to pause like that, and you deliver a message that way, people will realize it's natural.
Yes.
And that's the type of thing that with a teleprompter, even if you do use one, you can almost, like you said, find ways to almost fit that in.
Yeah.
So that it keeps coming off more naturally. So we talked, okay, so we got Canva to do some like graphic stuff and photos. CapCut is helping us with video.
Yeah.
Chat is helping us with, ideation, the idea of just kind of like bringing it to life.
And captions, it's helpful.
And captions, okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you are using from I guess like a tools perspective? It's like, you want to go build a house. What do I need? I need like nails. I need a hammer. I need, like a saw.
Yeah. So mini little microphone that attaches to your phone. So this goes in your phone, and you've got this, just attach it there, whatever you want. Helps enhance your sound quality. This is like literally $25 on Amazon.
And pause for 1 sec. And I will say to everybody needs to understand, that's especially if you're sort of a further distance away from the phone.
Yes, the camera.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, you can get away with it. And actually CapCut is great because it can actually like take out the background noise after you've recorded your video. So, I mean, at this point, you don't even need the stupid thing, but yeah, I still use it. And then just like a mount. Actually, I've got this really cool one that actually will go on like a window, or so it suctions, and it suctions to your phone. So your phone goes right there, and then you just stick it on like a window.
So both sides are a suction?
Yeah. So this kind of locks into place like that.
Yeah.
On the back. And then you put your phone with the magnet. Here, I'll just show you.
So like, does your phone have a magnet on it?
I guess the iPhone just is built in, or maybe that's the cover. Yeah, I think it's just built in. So then all you need to do is stick this on a wall or anything, and then you're mounted up.
Is that mount for iPhone specifically, or no?
No, any phone.
Okay, I like that, and I'm gonna throw something out there to everybody right now. You mentioned earlier on in the show about recording yourself, let's just say driving or showing a property. Stick that thing on the window, just hit record and go. I did that the other day. We were making maple syrup over the weekend,
No fun.
Actually, we've been doing it for like a month now. But I was in the sugar shack and I was just sitting there like I was chopping wood and I was stoking the fire and I literally just had the tripod and I just put the phone on. I just
Yeah.
turned it on. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Boop," record. And like it's just random content of nothing. Maybe it's not nothing. Maybe it's David and it's David and his lifestyle and it's David just doing things. But now you've got this, and sure, I might have had like a 2-minute clip, cut that thing down to like 10 seconds or 15 seconds of stoking wood in a fire or something or chopping wood. Now you've got a little piece of content that you could even blend together with other stuff. But it was the simplicity to what you're saying with the suction cup or
Yeah.
a tripod of just like
Yeah.
turn it on, hit record and like just go.
Yeah. And on the days when you can't think of what the heck to post, then you got your B-roll. Put
Great
up a
idea.
little,
Yep.
that's it.
Love that.
You got to go.
Love
You
that.
got to go. Yeah.
So I like that suction cup. Any other tool, the microphone, the suction cup, anything else, or like it's pretty, I mean,
That's it. I
I won't say
mean, it's not
basic,
that
it's
complicated,
simple.
guys. And you don't even need some of these the 2 extra things I said. Like you can edit in Instagram. Instagram's making it so much easier to edit right in the
Yeah.
app. So like honestly, just do it. Just film yourself and post. Like anybody that's watching, anybody that's going to be listening to the podcast, like that's my challenge for you is just post something today, because that execution piece is like what holds a lot of people back. And if anybody's on the chat right now and wanting to share, like how much do you have saved in your phone or as a draft right now that you just haven't posted yet because you're afraid to do it or because you just don't think it's the right time, right?
So many people are like that.
So many. I'm like,
I had
God,
that combo yesterday with somebody. They're like, they're going away on vacation. I'm like, all right, perfect. Why don't you take pictures and take a pan of the beach and show me your toes dangling over the beach chair under the palapa, seeing the water. Just take the picture. I don't need you to post it right away.
Yeah.
But have it in the library.
Yeah.
We can always go back and pull on that.
Yeah.
So there's so many ideas, and we overcomplicate so often how to execute. And then we think about how long it would take us. How do you balance the idea of quality with the idea of speed so that you're not spending hours trying to make it perfect? Because we suffer from that too. This idea of like needing to be perfect.
So one thing I've realized is that it doesn't matter how polished your video is. You could have the most unpolished, like your camera could be blurry. It could be the most random video clip, and it could get a ton of engagement. And other times it might not. So you never know what's going to hit and what's not going to hit. And so a lot of times I kind of like to make it into a game, because like, I never know. It could do well, it could not. So my thought process is always just put it out there and see what it does. Like if it doesn't do well, it doesn't do well. If it does, it does. Like there'll be many times where I put together a post and I'm like, this thing is gonna hit. Like it is gonna go so
I know
viral.
what you mean.
But I post it and then like 3 hours later, it's like 2 likes. And I'm like, really? I literally just spent, 2 hours on this. But anyway, going back to your time question, because that's a really big one. And I still suffer from that from time to time, where I end up spending way too much time on a post. I find if I sit down and start creating something, if I give myself a specific timeline, like I've got 30 minutes to do this. And if I don't get it done, okay, I'll save it and I'll get back to it a little bit later, because I'm not spending like a full morning just putting up one post. It's not worth it. Like, we all know that in this business, you need to be connecting with people. That is the utmost important. That's way more important than showing up on social media. Connections. So have your connections, right? This is just to support your brand and your business and allow people to connect with you a little bit better. But at the end of the day, you need to have that connection piece. So if you're spending too much time on your posts, you'll slowly get better at them. And there will be ones that will take longer. That's just natural. But if you give yourself a time limit in a day to do it, then it'll allow you to better control your day.
It's a great point there. I saw a, speaking of like creating those posts that'll go like further out there and like content and reach, saw a podcast the other day that Mark Zuckerberg was being interviewed on. And they questioned him around, I guess the English language.
Okay.
And how when you've got words and you're speaking in your video, you've essentially just alienated like 60 or 70% of the population that's on social media. Now, we're in North America, English being the main language. it makes sense to be speaking English and putting English posts and captions and everything else.
Yeah.
But it was just an interesting insight that these algorithms, sometimes they will look and go, if we see a video of something that doesn't have any words on it, it could essentially be available for anybody in the world. There's a possibility that it goes out further. Now, that
Yeah.
takes away from the total thing of like adding value and like how are you helping people and like what are you telling them to do and the CTAs and the hooks and all that stuff. But it was just it was an interesting one. We talk about reach.
Hmm.
I thought that
Yeah.
was interesting. So
No, it is.
coming back to the time involved, and we talked about the batch creation and the content creation part of it.
Yeah.
Would you be creating a post this morning to go out today, or do you sort of like prep maybe a few days ahead and kind of? I know we talked about batch creation, but like how far in advance do you schedule that?
I'd say, so I feel like I'm not a good example, but I'm like a day or two. Like
Okay.
some days it'll be the day of, other
Yeah.
times I'll have it saved in my drafts for a couple of days from now. So again, you need to go with your personality here. Like if you find that's going to be way too overwhelming and you need to have some more structure, then definitely you can save your content as a draft in Instagram or whatever platform you're using, or just have it on your phone ready to post, have the caption ready to go. But on the days that I do actually plan, I will have the post, I'll have the caption ready to go, I'll have the hashtag. So everything will be there. So when it comes to posting, I'm not, taking a pause and thinking, what's my caption going to be? What's this going to be? Like it's all there for me. So I try to make it as easy as possible for myself. And that's what I recommend for people, especially starting out. Like if you can have some organization to that, it makes it a lot easier.
Totally. No, it definitely does. Like I know for myself, I'm always prepared. Like the day of got me going nuts back in the
Yeah.
day when we started with the whole thing, and it was like trying to execute on that. And like at one point you're doing it, trying to get used to it, and then at some point you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have to worry about the fact that it's got to go up today, and I got to worry about it today.
Yeah.
There's some things that I will, but then again, this does come back to the strategy that we have talked about of the ideas
Yeah.
and having those ideas prepared and kind of going, okay, and I know what my content calendar looks like, so I know what days kind of different things go out. It makes it a lot simpler to execute consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings me to the next question around your posting frequency. I think you mentioned about 5 times a
Days.
day, or
5
5
days a
days,
week.
5 days a
Oh
week.
my
Not 5
God.
days a week.
No.
But how important would you say it is to be consistent versus, just posting when you feel inspired?
I think it's very important to be consistent. However, consistency can look a lot different. It doesn't mean that you have to be posting every single day. Consistency could be once a week. Every Monday, you're putting out a post. And I know plenty of agents that do that. Put out a post once a week. It's valuable content.
Mhm.
They maybe boost it or put some money behind it to really get the reach out there. And slowly over time, they've developed more of an audience and just got a lot more engagement with their posts. So don't think of consistency as being constant. Consistency is just establishing a cadence that works for you and just doing it. And it makes it easier because
Great point.
Monday's this post, and then I can be done for the rest of the week. But start
It's a
once.
wicked point.
I find a lot of agents, they'll be like, okay, I'm going to start on social media and I'm going to post 3 times a week. That's reasonable, right? And I'll be like, I mean, it could be, but why don't you start with once a week and build
right.
up from there? Don't
Yep.
just jump off the cliff. Like you gotta, like going back, I think we used a swimming analogy before, maybe it was some other analogy, but like, dip your toe in the water first, then maybe walk into the water and then dive in. But don't just go right off the cliff because you think that's what you need to be doing. Start with once a week.
We're saying a very, very, very similar message on that. So then when we talk about once a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, 7 times, whatever, is there a certain time of the day, a certain time of the week that you find maybe your content performs better, maybe you get more engagement on Instagram or even some of the other platforms you're on?
So I've started paying a little bit more attention to the insights on Instagram and just kind of seeing where, like, how active my audience is at different times.
Mhm.
Funny enough, like in the last few weeks, what Instagram was telling me. So first of all, I find weekends don't even bother usually, because I find that's not like, people are out and about. They're not really going to be engaging with much on social.
Yeah.
So I stick to the weekdays for myself. My audience shows like 12 p.m. and 3 p.m., which is a really weird time, I thought. So I started trying to post at 3 p.m. consistently, and I wasn't finding I was getting as much. So even though your followers might be on social at that time, it doesn't mean they might be necessarily engaging. So it's a lot of trial and error. Before I was doing 3 p.m., I would do just before 9 a.m. and just get it out there. And I found that tended to get more engagement over the course of a day. So I'll probably go back to that, because I kind of got stressed. I kind of feeling stressed out when I was like, I hadn't posted until 3. I'd rather get it done in the morning, and then I can kind of get on with my day. So that's what I do. But honestly, when you're first starting out, it's way better just to post it. Like, don't worry. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It doesn't really matter. Just put it up there. And, as you develop that muscle and get better at doing it and become more consistent, then you can start looking at your insights or start to find the trends and where you get more activity and interest. So, it'll be an evolution, but first just post the damn thing.
It's funny. Anybody that's working with me or, has been working with me from a one-to-one or a training perspective, you're hearing I'm talking to you, my audience right now. You've been there, you've heard me, you're hearing it again from Katie. You've heard it before. Cause I say that all the time. Like, people would be like, oh, what's the best day? I'm like, Thursday at 7:32 a.m. They're like, really? I'm like, no, not at all. Like, just post when your schedule allows you to post. But then when we talk about, once you get into the strategy and the cadence of it, now we start to find the rhythm. And I would agree with you completely that the kind of that before 9 a.m. time slot is going to be more impactful than 3 p.m. Why? We know a lot of people, bad habit, everybody, stop doing this. But a lot of people are on social media first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of action happening. And then if that post starts to get some traction, it's going to keep going throughout the day, which is also a positive thing for the post, a positive thing for the MindShare. Yeah. So to that, how do you handle engagement once the content is live? Like, do you prioritize replying to comments, to DMs, like immediately within the first hour? Do you just kind of do it in the day? What's your thing?
Yeah, I try to, again, it's kind of hard because I don't want to be on social media all the time. But throughout the day, I'll log in, and if anybody's commented, I will comment back right away. Because honestly, that's the whole point of you posting, is for people to engage. So if somebody's going to take the time to engage and comment on your post, they deserve a response as soon as possible. So do them that favor of showing that you've read their comment and that you appreciate them commenting. It's funny, we take for granted, like, once we post, then like the engagement comes and then people just like ignore it. It's like, no, but that was the whole point of you posting it to begin with. You want to connect with these people and see those people as an opportunity to create conversation in direct message or outside of the platform. But if somebody's taken the time to respond, then it means that they're interested in talking with you. And so, you're not going to go into a full sales pitch right away with somebody, but you want to be making sure that you're interacting with them and trying to continue a relationship and see where an opportunity could be.
That's a great point. I think that'd be something we see as like one of the biggest momentum killers.
Yeah.
When it comes to, the post that you put up, it's like the fact that you just don't engage. You're not there with other people.
Yeah.
And it's important, because you're right. And that's a great point that you make there again, that it really comes back to having the conversation.
Yeah. And it's like we take for granted the clients we have, yet we're so focused on trying to get new clients. It's like, why do we do that? Our clients are the people that trust us. Like, we should be treating them like gold, or your followers.
Well, come on. This is the same thing when people say they want a lead gen. They start spending money on random strangers. It's like, why don't you tap into your contact list? I'm willing to bet they know somebody.
Absolutely. I know. I don't know. Yeah.
So we've got a question that came through the VIP room here. I don't know if you have. I know I have negative comments. How do you deal with them?
Oh, it's a tough one. Part of me is like, okay, well, engagement is engagement, whether it's negative or positive. And if I could, keep up a conversation with somebody, even if it's in a negative way, it could always help the post. But for my own well-being and where I put in place boundaries, if somebody, like, there's a difference between like just can I say asshole? Sorry, I said it. So
no, you can't say that on this show. This is the MindShare podcast. Come on, Katie.
I forgot if I could swear.
I love that. Can I say this?
Can I say this? But the assholes out there that are just like the keyboard warriors that just are trying to piss you off, right? Those people I will not engage with. Like I've stopped myself and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll usually keep the comment up there. And if I've got some pretty loyal followers that will start snapping back. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm good. I'm going to step away from this. But there's also sometimes like people can come across as negative, but sometimes they might just be questioning what you've said or how you've presented something. So it could be an opportunity for a conversation and just to kind of understand where they're coming from. So I think you got to have to understand the type of negativity you're getting. But if it's just an asshole out there that's just trying to piss you off, then see you later. Like I'm not trying to, they just want you to engage back, right?
That's what they want. They do. And
yeah.
I really like the fact that you brought up the fine line between the people that are like totally being assholes, like the keyboard ninjas.
Yeah.
And then the people that actually had some sort of response to what you said, where maybe they didn't agree.
Yeah.
Or maybe they kind of did, but they had a different insight on it. And I've had that many times before.
Yeah.
And one thing I will do is I will always start off with, like, I'll read it. And then you got to let the emotions subside for a moment, because you don't want to respond too quickly, because now you're not thinking about your response. You're reacting to a response, right? Yeah. So you want to think about it. You want to think to yourself, okay, what was this person really trying to say? And what was the point that they were making? Yeah. And whether you agree with the point or you don't agree with the point, it's always like a good little thing if you are going to go back to, like, as a public reply. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for following, or thanks so much for, commenting, or love the fact that you're always engaging with my posts. Like, here's what was said. And you sort of maybe clarify, but it's not to get to a back and forth banter.
Yeah.
But it's acknowledging they're there. And you know what? This could be somebody that does follow your stuff regularly, that maybe even likes you, but just didn't agree with something that you said or had a different opinion on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even necessarily spin that as a negative comment.
No. And I have an example of where we did a condo tour. Like, we have another account that focuses on a specific geographic area. And we did a condo tour of a property in the area. And of course it was like a rainy day. It was miserable, but whatever. We just we booked the time. We're going to do the tour. We're going to post it. And somebody put up a comment like, wow, you couldn't have picked a better day to do this. Like it's so dark outside, like basically kind of insulting the video quality. But I mean, he was kind of right, because it was not the best, but I just wanted to get it done and post it. So it ended up into a conversation in the direct messages. Like, I just started joking, like, yeah, I know it was a really crappy day to do it, but we just wanted to get out there and we were already there. And we started going back and forth, and he's interested in investment condo and, starting that conversation. So you never know, right? Like, people might just be assholes, and then they come around when you start being, normal with them. So don't.
So it's funny, because I was going to say to you, around like direct business, have you seen any direct business from, the personal content, be it, referrals or agent recruitment? Because I know you obviously broker owner, brand awareness is obviously there, but is that, maybe just a simple answer of like, yes, I do.
Oh, it is amazing. The people that we talk to that want to join our brokerage because they've seen us on social media, the conversation, it's literally like they walk in and they're like, I've already made the decision. I want to join your brokerage because I've seen everything I need to see on your social platforms. Like, they know exactly what they're getting. So that conversation is like, they're already in the door. And it's the same thing for agents. If you can show people what it's like to work with you, when you have that listing appointment, you're going to walk in the door and you're going to get the listing right away, because they know exactly what to expect. So that's the point you want to get to. And it doesn't happen consistently, but I've seen that growth over time. And that's because I've consistently shown what I'm about. Not everybody's going to connect with me. Not everybody's going to want to work with us. That's fine. But the people that are really wanting what we offer are going to come and know exactly what to get, because they've seen everything we've been putting up there.
I love that you brought that up. We get that a lot from people who, when I get on the phone with somebody and they're like, oh, I didn't think I'd be speaking to you, or like I was excited to speak to you. And it's, not because I'm whatever. It's more that I'm the talking head on the
Yeah.
screen,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Whoa, you've just become a real human being." And for everything I've been following and watching, and now they're on a phone with you, and you're like, you're the same person, which is super, super important.
Yeah.
You're the same person.
Yes.
There's either a really amazing connection point that happens, or you realize very quickly we are not one and the same. But if we realize that, you probably wouldn't be on the phone call with me. So we've already established something. And that's where I used the word storefront earlier.
Yes.
People are going to go to your website, but they're going to your Instagram first.
Yeah.
They want to
Yeah.
see if you're a real human being. They want to see your tonality and the way you operate and who you are. And then they see you on the video, they see your post, and all of a sudden they talk to you on the phone, and they meet with you, and they realize you're the same person. I mean, you've got an opportunity there,
Yeah.
right? And that comes back to, and you just use the magic word, consistency.
Yeah.
Right. So, Katie, for somebody listening today who wants to finally commit to showing up, they want to be on social media more. What would be that first action step that you would give them, right now that they should take this week to get started?
So number one, get crystal clear on who your audience is. That's first and foremost. And number two, get somebody to hold you accountable to posting something this week. Because if you're not going to be accountable to yourself, you will likely be accountable to somebody else. Sadly, I mean, I know that's sad, but it is the truth for most of us, right? So even if it's like your kid, like if I'm going to be hell of accountable to my kid, because if they ask me to do something and I don't do it, like that's going to be bad. And I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. So whoever it is that's important, whether it's your broker of record, I don't know who, David, like if you're working with David, like but they need to know they have to help you and keep you accountable. So I'll have my agents, okay, like every Monday morning, just send me the 3 things you're working on this week, and I'll make sure to hold you accountable to them, and I'll check in at the end of the week. So just say, listen, hold me accountable to putting up 1 post this week. And if you don't see anything by Friday, get on my case and I will make sure it's posted by the end of the day. Just accountability. You need that.
Great point. It's what is crucial for everything in life. It really is. And little action step that I take on that is everything's in my calendar.
Yes.
Everything, like everything. And I hold myself accountable by being able to see that I've moved things, like I've moved the needle today. I've changed things. Like for me, it's color coding and it's marking actions completed. That's accountability, self-accountability. But then I've got my team who can also see my calendar, and they know whether the stuff that I'm saying on this podcast and on my videos and on the stage are legit or not. And that's enough accountability for me to be like, well, maybe the rest of the world won't know, so I can kind of pretend, but like they'll know. That's enough for me to actually be like, I'm not pretending, I'm legit. And now like, again, it's having people there whose eyes are on your stuff.
Yeah.
There's a different sense of accountability, right? So that's a great point. Now, what would you say to anybody who says, I can't?
You can. It's bullshit. Don't give me that bullshit. Listen, it might not be a post. Go on your stories. Start with stories. Start small. I'm not expecting you to do a full 90-second reel with all the captions and all the things. Like, you don't have to do all of that right now. You just need to start somewhere. So if it's just one picture and it's maybe a just listed post that we all hate, but maybe add a little bit more personality to it, make it into a carousel post, like baby steps. Don't go crazy, but you can do it. You can. So if you can't do a video right now, go on stories and put yourself behind the video and talk a little bit, do a little tour of one of your listings, whatever it needs to be, but just do it because you can. And just stop with that.
Just stop. You've brought up stories a few times. That's my favorite social media hack.
Yeah.
Like the more active you are with stories, the more you show up at the top of somebody's feed, the more they click on you, the more you show up at the top of their feed. And like, it's just this constant thing of like, you're always at the top. And even if they didn't go to Instagram to check you out, you're still at the top. You're there.
Yeah.
It's just so easy, So for, again, anybody that's going like, whoa, whatever, what stories are. If you don't, they're like the big circles up at the top of the feed, post something up there. The post that you put up stays up for 24 hours max. I always recommend if you can have, 2 to 3 stories in a day that you could put up, then your stories never actually die. There's always something for people to look at.
Yeah.
And the more kind of, as you get comfortable, the more OG that you are with those stories. Like I've got a lot of repetitive stuff. Like when I go to the gym, talk about accountability, I post a
Yep.
picture of being at the gym.
Yep.
And some people are like, oh man, why do you post that? I'm like, it keeps me accountable to me.
Yeah.
Like it says to me, hey, Dave, you're there. And then
Yeah.
I also say to people, I'm like, hey, for those of you that aren't going to the gym that know you need to go to the gym, guess what? It keeps you accountable to you too. Cause you're like, oh man, he keeps going all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But again, that particular post, although it goes up its accountability, it's not going to go crazy far because it is somewhat repetitive and the algorithm picks up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like the Sugar Shack post the other day where I'm sitting in the Sugar Shack with the TV and the baseball game, a little beverage in hand, me and my cousin with our feet out, you can even see our faces. I got about 10 times the amount of views I usually get on my stories based on that one. It was fantastic. But again, you keep bringing up stories, best social media hack out there. Everybody take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Katie, the day is over. You've done your social, you've met with your agents, you've met with your clients, you've been with the family, you've done everything you had to do. Day is over. How do you know it's been a successful day for you?
Money.
Oh,
No, I'm joking.
I so didn't believe that. I'm like, whoa, this is like the first time anybody ever says money. Are you kidding?
I listened to your show enough. No.
Right away, that's actually when I go, she's listening. She's listening.
Yeah. You're like, crap. What just happened? No.
That was good.
Obviously not. No. If I could have an impact on somebody else's life, whether it's just one of my kids needing help with their homework or an agent just needing a bit of accountability on something or a little bit of guidance on the next post to create, that's how I know it's been a good day. Any connection I can have with somebody and have some sort of positive impact on their life, that makes it an amazing day.
So good. Helping other people.
Yeah.
People
some money doesn't help either.
No, listen. Let's be real over here, and I will say it again. I love money, and I want more of it. I'm not downplaying that whatsoever.
No,
it's just in our world, especially if all we do, and this is sincere to everybody, but if all we do is we count the amount of dollars we made at the end of the day, it is very difficult to be happy. Now, yes, it's important. Yes, we need to make them, and yes, when we're not making them, it can really put you in a bad place. In saying that, it's about the actions you take on a daily basis and how you're working and helping others, which is a big reason we do this podcast. That really helps move the needle, and it brings a different sense of satisfaction. So no, great answer on that. Any final words before we tune out today, just to help everybody build more mind share, to get more market share? Any just last things? Where can they find you? I've got your handle up on the screen here, Katie.Steinfeld. So I'm going to encourage everybody for like the 18th time today, go check out her Instagram account, follow her, see what she's up to, ask her questions. It is awesome stuff. But
connect with me there. Instagram is the best place to find me, and be patient and be kind to yourself through the process of creating social or making social media your strategy, because it takes time. It's the long game, but you will find that you will have some amazing results over time. So just be proud of yourself for starting and just keep going.
So good. Katie, this has been an entertaining, fun, educational conversation.
Thank you. It was so nice.
I thank you for the time.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Keep up the amazing work on that Instagram. We're all following, and you're going to be getting a lot of new followers today. So,
Yay. Can't wait.
No, it's awesome. Keep up the amazing work. You're doing a great job with it.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
Thanks again. We'll see you shortly. Thanks. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of the MindShare podcast. A big thanks to Katie Steinfeld for sharing real-world insights on how realtors can build a strong social media presence through smart, consistent content creation. If you've been holding back from posting, now is your time to take action. Okay. So remember, your brand is built by showing up. It's built by focusing on creating value and staying consistent, and do that, and the results are going to follow. Speaking of value, if you got any value from today's conversation about real estate marketing, personal branding, content creation, for you guys as realtors, here's what to do next. First, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the MindShare podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Leave a review at ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Again, for those of you watching live feed, ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. This will help us reach more real estate professionals just like yourself, more of your colleagues, and really share those insights and help people build the Mindshare. And we'd love if you take a moment to share the episode across any of your social media platforms, or even let people know that are out there. Anybody who's ready to level up their social media game or even their marketing, or needs that sense of accountability, as Katie was saying, please do share it with them. For more real estate marketing strategies, please visit mindshare101.com. While you're there, explore how our full range of services, including one-to-one coaching, the Mindshare Collective group coaching, momentum training, and keynote speaking, will take your business to the next level. Don't forget to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle, so you can build more Mindshare and get more market share, as well as learn more about joining the revolution. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook and TikTok at Mindshare101, and on Instagram at David Greenspan101. For any inquiries, just get in touch with us today. Just before we sign off, I want to say a big thank you to Kids Keep in Touch Systems, REM Magazine, and REVEL Realty for their continued support as sponsors of this show. Until next time, keep building the Mindshare, because it will earn you more market share. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.